Welcome back, and I'm now on to Chapter 4 of our series, and in this chapter I'm only going to cover one section since it's pretty extensive. This section is Section 2705, and it's titled Prohibiting Discrimination Against Individual Participants and Beneficiaries Based on Health Status, and it can be located on page 48 of the Act. So the title is a bit misleading because it has to do with that, but there's a whole lot more going on here. This section is important because it tells us how we can qualify and enroll in wellness programs to get as much as 30% off of our individual insurance premiums. Now, as you may recall, I touched briefly on this in Chapter 2, and now this is the specific section that spells out those details of the programs itself. Shortly on your screen you will see language taken from the Act itself that outlines some of the programs that we can take advantage of to try and obtain this policy reduction. One of them talks about reimbursing part of the cost of membership to a fitness center. Another has to do with diagnostic testing. Another has to do with encouraging more preventive care. Another has to do with attending programs to stop smoking if you're a smoker. And lastly, a reward to individuals for attending periodic health education seminars. So, if you participate in any one or more of these programs, you could get up to 30% off for the calendar year on your insurance premium. Now, I think the government came up with this provision because they knew that insurance companies would increase our premiums on the whole, since insurance companies would no longer be able to take into account a person's individual health when setting their premium rates. I discussed my theory on this and why I believe all of our rates will go up in Chapter 3 of this series. And I believe this provision, as set forth in this Act, pretty much confirms my suspicions. Why else would the government go to all of this trouble to help us keep down our rates? If you truly believe it's because they have our best interests at heart, then I'm sorry, but I think that's naive. Instead, I believe this provision is in here to 1. Help reduce increased premium amounts, and 2. Set up precedent that gives more control to the government on what government believes the overall health of all of us should be. I like to call that conditioning. This provision is far more important because it establishes a precedent for all of us to have to attend or be a part of a program that tells us what we should or should not do for our overall health. Already, though, I can hear those of you out there arguing that, hey, this is voluntary, you don't have to participate, and partly you would be right. But think of this. If insurance rates, as expected, implode, who in their right mind is not going to participate in at least one of these programs to help offset their costs? No one, folks. It's a tricky way of getting us to eat our veggies, and a sneaky way to further down the road increase the programs we will have to be a part of in order to continue with whatever rate reduction we might get. So again, for those of you who keep insisting the government is not actively getting involved in your health care, yeah, they are, and it's in the form of the above. Now here are some additional questions I have. Who pays for these programs? Do we have to pay for these programs? And how often do we have to attend these programs? Honestly, would it not have been easier and more cost-effective to still just allow health insurance companies to take an individual's overall health in consideration versus the above? Especially when you take into account what the cost for running and maintaining these programs will be, not to mention the waste involved. Did you notice in the Act's language where it spells out, for example, how smokers can get this discount by attending a program for quitting smoking without actually having to quit? And it's not just for smoking either. You can attend a program and you don't have to show that you effectively are following it, only that you went, and you still get the discount. Really? So in the end, it's a big waste of my time and an increase probably in my taxes to pay for the programs that more than likely will just result in lip service. God bless America. See you next time.